imagine that for a given product, the relationship between price and quantity is given by the following equation. P equals 20 minus 3Q. Now, an equation of this form, which gives the relationship between price and quantity, is also called as a demand function. Basically, it gives the market demand for a product at a given price. Now, given this function, we are asked to calculate the following. First, the revenue function. The revenue function is a function that gives you the relationship between how much money the company earns for a given quantity of products sold. So, revenue function is a function between quantity and the revenue earned. The second thing that we are asked to calculate is the marginal revenue. The marginal revenue is just the additional revenue that you would gain by selling an additional unit of quantity. So, the marginal revenue is just a function of the quantity sold. Now, let us see how one might compute these two quantities. So, given our demand function P equals 20 minus 3Q, the revenue function can be calculated by multiplying the price or the demand function with the quantity. So, take our demand function and multiply it by the quantity, and that will give you the revenue function. So, doing the maths here, you will get 20 minus 3Q, that is our demand function, multiply that with the quantity. Now, you have learned how to expand brackets and make algebraic simplifications. Let us do that here. You have revenue is equal to 20 times Q minus 3 times Q square, and now this gives our revenue function. This is a quadratic equation in Q. We have just derived our revenue function. Our next task is to derive the marginal revenue. Now, the marginal revenue is the additional revenue gained from selling one extra unit. Mathematically, that can be represented as dr over dq. That is, how much additional revenue can you get by selling one extra unit of the product. So, our revenue function is of the form 20Q minus 3Q square. So, R is equal to 20Q minus 3Q square, and therefore, dr over dq, we are asked to differentiate our revenue function with respect to the quantity. This is just an application of differentiating a function with multiple terms. Following the same rules where we used to differentiate functions with multiple terms, you can differentiate each term individually and then carry through the subtraction sign in between them. So, you have the first term is 20 times q, the derivative of that is just 20, and the second term is 3q square, which the 3 is the leading coefficient, and when you take the derivative of that term, the 3 simply comes through, and then q square is of the form q to the power n, and therefore, the derivative of that function is n times q to the power n minus 1, that is 2 times q to the power 2 minus 1, and the negative symbol just comes through. Therefore, dr over dq is our marginal revenue is equal to 20 minus 6q, and that is our marginal revenue function.